How much of a gamble is it picking Liam Williams and Josh Navidi, given that Liam hasn't played since the World Cup and Josh just 3 games?
Yeah, the key really was to get enough volume into them. They've done that now and we think they're both ready to go. They've trained very, very well, put in a lot of hard work to get to the start line this weekend, and they're both very, very experienced players now as well, and they know their bodies as well as anybody, and we're confident they can do a job for us.
You've named Dan Bigger at fly half. What's his state of fitness and how far will you take the backup measures?
No, he ran well today. He's been goal kicking today, so Dan's good to go.
Does Dan need to do any more tomorrow, Wayne? Will you be checking his progress tomorrow? Does he need to prove any more to definitely start?
No, he ran today, so he'll run tomorrow in the captain's run. Yep, he's fine.
Surprised at his recovery?
Well, look, I think, when he got the injury at the time, I think, if it's a test match, who knows, he may have played on. So at the end of the day, it's, he's come off, he's been treated, and the medical team have done a great job with him.
What's the thinking behind the changes at scrum half?
I just think that, Gareth had a go last week. Thomas has been playing well up to that point, and we think at the moment he edges it, and looking at the bench, I think what we've done there is Webby comes on and brings a lot of experience and a lot of good communication and game management with him. So hopefully he'll close the game out well for us.
And at Bluestead?
Yeah, Wynn's had all the starts so far. He's had a hip flex, he hasn't trained for about 10 days, so that's counted against him. And I think Rob's had a pretty good experience against England in the Six Nations last year, and he's chomping at the bit for an opportunity. And young Reece Carey, as we know, is an up-and-coming loosehead who's done a fine job at the World Cup. So we're confident those two will do a good job for us.
What was your thinking at number 8, Wayne? I mean, it wasn't that long ago Talupe was considered arguably the best number 8 in the world. How far off that standard is he at the moment?
Well, he started on Sunday, he hasn't trained until today fully, so really that's probably counted against him. He took a bump in that game, so it's just one of the downsides of guys playing outside of Wales and having to play on a Sunday before a test match. So we think it's better this weekend for him to come off the bench and have a smaller part in the game. And
the England selection, Wayne, Watson back, Wilson back, 6 forwards on the bench. What do you make of it? Yeah,
well, we looked at the Ireland game, and they did the same thing there with the split, and it worked for them. So, not surprised that they've gone that way again. But quality players, whoever comes into that squad.
What are your thoughts on the coronavirus situation? What extra precautions, if any, are you taking in preparations and on match day?
Yeah, we get the same advice as the general public, and it's about being clean and tidy in and around the place and looking after ourselves and just making sure we do everything we can do to keep ourselves in good health.
Looks unlikely that England will be able to travel to Italy as planned. Shame on the Six Nations. Shame for the Six Nations as a whole, I guess.
It is, but at the end of the day, I guess the health risks outweigh the game of rugby being played at that time, so it'll get played at a later date. No doubt we'll just have to wait to see the outcome of that down the track.
It's your first tournament, Wayne. How disappointing for you would it be if the whole thing fizzles out without a full complement of all the fixtures being played?
Look, I think everyone would be disappointed, but you've got to put the health of the general public first, I guess, and those decisions will be made at a government level, and we will obviously, if it affects us, well then we just worry about that at the time. But for us at the moment now, it's just all about England and the excitement. First tournament, as you say, it's we look back on the French game with the opportunities that we created. We didn't finish them, and that's something that obviously this week we'll need to do, and we just keep working positively to try and achieve that.
First chance for you to lock horns with Eddie Jones. How are you looking forward to it?
Oh, look, Eddie's a fantastic coach, and his track record speaks for itself, and I find him one of the game's great characters. So, really looking forward to it, and looking forward to catching up with him afterwards.
What about the level of expectation for this game? How high should the Welsh public hopes be?
Oh, look, I think we've prepared as well as we can. We've got a good side taking the field, and we're going there to try and improve each week and improve on the French performance, which, apart from the scoreline, we did well in most areas of the game. We're pretty happy with the outcomes, but fine margins, the intercept pass, refereeing decision, which, looking back now, I think everyone would agree was probably a penalty try. So those are big moments in games, and so we think we're on the right track. We've just got to keep working hard.
Happy being underdogs, maybe?
Yeah, well, going to Twickenham, history would suggest that, so we're no different, but certainly we go there. It's an England-Wales match, and one which the players are thoroughly looking forward to.
Where do you think England are at the moment in terms of their performance level, Wayne? Are they back to where they were at the World Cup? Or?
Yeah, well, look, I thought they were very impressive against Ireland, very impressive. They controlled that game from start to finish. Dominated in virtually all areas, I thought. So, obviously the first half against France they wouldn't have been happy with, but since then there was a bit of weather in Edinburgh which made it difficult. But certainly judging them on that Irish game is going to be a big task.
And just tidying up the injury situation, Will Rowlands, was he available? Anyone else ruled out?
Yeah, again, Will had to go back and play club football, picked up an injury there to a knee, so he's been ruled out. I think that just about covers it.
Should we leave the guys back there in a few minutes in Barrow?
English guys who picked up knocks. Is it ridiculously frustrating for you that you think you've got a team ready and then some people have to go off to England and all pick up knocks and then you change your selection for the next week?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, we select a squad and we've selected guys from outside, so we've known from day one that they would have to go back if they weren't in the match day 23. So it's just one of those things. We release a lot of players into the Welsh regional sides as well, so players can pick up injuries there, as Hallam Amos did. So his injury's taken him out for the rest of the tournament, I think, for about 16 weeks. So, it can happen in any game of rugby.
What does Josh bring, Josh Navidi?
Josh Navidi, he's a fantastic player over the ball. The breakdown work that he does, his defensive work, and his ball carrying. He's a guy that when he first played for Wales, I remember recalling Steve Hansen asking who the player was, because the All Blacks were so impressed with him without the ball. He's a tough character, he's just somebody that puts a lot of pressure on the opposition.
Wayne Liam hasn't played since October. What convinces you that it's not a risk thrown into a game like this in terms of re-injuring himself, having not had game time since his injury?
Yeah, he'd have to play a game of rugby at some stage, club or with us. Obviously, it's a higher level, but we've given him that extra time rather than going back a week ago. He's got as much volume into him as we can get into him, if it was a club game this week or the test match, he's good to go. In terms of the strength and conditioners and the medical team being comfortable with that. So they've taken the extra time. Early on we thought he might be back a bit earlier, but we've taken all the precautions to make sure that he's at that level that we think is safe for him to play.
How closely can you replicate the intensity of test matches in training?
We have a lot of live sessions, so he's been through that. Tuesday was a very lively session. It's refereed, so we bring a referee in as we did today. There's some live components today as well, so he's got to go through a lot of hoops before we put him on the field.
Well, isn't it really key to England's physicality, and do you feel confident he can do that as a team?
I think if you look at the Six Nations match last year, he played a massive role in that win for Wales, and I think in some of these big games, I touched on the All Black game going back a few years, he stood up and played some very big matches for us, so we're confident he can do that again.
Wayne, this is your first game against England for Wales. Clearly, unbelievably important one for the country. Have you had to have a sort of crash course on the sort of historical importance of all it? I
think, my background coming from New Zealand, we look at England probably as the Welsh do. They're a strong team, one of the world leaders. They're very capable on their day, as we saw at the World Cup against the All Blacks. And as we saw last week against Ireland, two of the top sides in the world put away comfortably. So there's a healthy respect, but it's a game that we're all looking forward to, me included.
Have you noticed any sort of extra buzz or whatever of the guys in training this week because it's a trip away to Twickenham? We haven't won for 8 years, I think, in this tournament at least. Yeah,
I think you just got to listen to Alan Wynne during the week. The intensity's there in his voice and everything he's done at training. He's led from the front. And I think the level of intensity in training has gone up this week. Certainly in the live stuff, it's been no holes barred, no one holding back. So it tells me that there's a big performance coming.
Do you think that England are a different animal than Twickenham? I think they've only lost twice under Eddie Jones at home.
Yeah, clearly they've got a great record there, one which we respect and one which tells us that we've got to be at the peak of our powers and we've got to play well. And the things that we talked about, reviewing the French game, we've got to make sure we get those things right. If we get opportunities, we've got to be clinical.
Wayne, Sam Davis called up but not released for the Dragons games. Are you going to travel to Twickenham?
Sorry, who was that?
Sam Davis.
Yeah, Sam is coming as part of the group that are there to warm the team up. Yeah.
Wayne, can you just give us a feel of your thinking around the nines, what Thomas brings starting, and also Gareth Davis missing out, and is that an indication that you've got a real strong set there?
Yeah, we have done, and we've got 3 quality nines, as we know, and so it's really, we've looked at it from the point of view that if anyone's not quite 100 for any reason, then we don't need to put them out there. We'll put out the guys that are. Gareth probably didn't have his best performance last week. He knows that. We think Thomas has been playing well, and we think he deserves a start on that basis, really.
Well, Aaron Shingler's on the bench. Can you just talk us through that selection ahead of maybe someone like Adam Beard?
Yeah, it's really to knowing that Josh obviously hasn't played for a while. We suspect that Toby will be used to cover Josh, in which case we've got 2 loose forwards and 2 second rows to cover, and as Aaron was used at the World Cup, he'll be doing the same role.
Final one, please, Chip.
Will the game plan and philosophy be the same, or is this a time to be more pragmatic?
We're making a couple of tweaks for this week.
Thank you very much.